So, what happens when a respected professor says a huge publisher has been cheating him for over a decade? Well, that's exactly what we're diving into today. We're going to unpack one academic's public stand for justice and get right into the serious claims he's making.
Right off the bat, the statement hits you with this, wow. I mean, that's not just legal talk, right? It immediately frames this whole thing as a moral battle, not just some boring contractual squabble. It's a huge signal that, for him, this is about way more than just money.
And hey, just so we're all on the same page here, everything we're looking at today comes straight from a public document issued by Dr. Mohamed Fayad himself. We're basically walking you through the case exactly as he lays it out. This is his story, his public fight.
Okay, so let's get into the details. Every conflict has two sides, right? So who exactly are the main players in this academic showdown?
All right, so on one side, you've got Dr. Mohamed Fayad. He's a distinguished university professor and accomplished author. And on the other side, Auerbach Publications, which is basically part of the publishing behemoth Taylor and Francis. The document sets this up right away as a classic David versus Goliath story, the individual creator against this huge corporate machine.
And what's this whole thing really about? Well, it all comes down to intellectual property rights. The rules that are supposed to protect creators and make sure they get paid and recognized for their hard work. The entire case here is built on the claim that these fundamental rights were just ignored. And that's what kicked off a fight that's been going on for over 10 years now.
So you're probably wondering, how did it get this bad? Well, this wasn't some overnight issue. Not at all. The document lays out a timeline that shows this ordeal has been dragging on for more than a decade.
Let's rewind back to 2014. According to Dr. Fayad, that's the year the royalty checks for one of his major books just stopped coming. His contract said he was supposed to get paid every 6 months, but he claims that just didn't happen. And now, after 10 long years of what he calls deprivation, he's decided enough is enough and is making his case public.
So, just how many payments are we talking about here? Get this. For one single book, the statement claims 19 payment cycles were missed. 19! Just let that sink in. That number alone really puts the scale of this whole thing into perspective, doesn't it?
And look, this isn't just about one book or some simple mix-up in the accounting department. No way. The document really pushes this idea that it's part of a much bigger, deliberate pattern of neglect, one that he says affects a whole bunch of his other work too.
All right, so let's get into the nitty-gritty. What are the specific violations he's claiming? The document doesn't just make vague statements. It lays out a whole series of detailed accusations to build its case.
Okay, so there are 5 main points here. First up, unauthorized publication. He says one of his books was put up on Google's platform without his permission. Second, there's exploitation. Apparently, that same book was used in university courses, and he never saw a dime from it. Third, a breach of contract. He claims the publisher wouldn't give him a manuscript he needed for a second volume. Fourth is a really serious one, racial bias. He alleges he was treated worse than other authors in his field. And finally, a total lack of transparency. Payments were all over the place, and when he asked for a financial review, he says he was just ignored.
So after all that, what does he actually want? What does justice even look like in this situation? Well, the document is pretty clear on this and lays out some very uncompromising demands.
And really, this question is at the heart of the whole statement, isn't it? It's about so much more than just getting the money he's owed. It's about trying to define what a fair outcome actually is after fighting this battle for 10 years.
And his demands, they go way beyond just a paycheck. I mean, sure, he wants full financial recovery plus compensation. That's a given. But he's also calling for an independent academic committee to actually evaluate his work. He wants a fair comparison with other authors to bring the alleged discrimination to light. And he's demanding public disclosure of the injustice he says he faced as a proud Black Muslim elder. On top of all that, he wants to use this case to raise awareness for academics everywhere who might be in the same boat. You can tell this is really about setting a precedent for others.
And that really brings us to the core message of his entire statement. It takes this whole dispute and elevates it from just a legal fight to something much more fundamental.
This final quote from his document just says it all, doesn't it? The argument he's making is that this was never about spreadsheets or late payments. It's about respect. It's about recognition. It's about the basic dignity that every creator deserves.
So in the end, this is really about the bigger picture. By taking this fight public, the hope is to turn one person's personal struggle into a symbol for something universal. It's about taking a stand for every single creator out there who feels like their work has been taken for granted or flat out exploited.
Which leaves us with a really big, critical question, doesn't it? In our digital world, where you can share something with millions of people in a single click, how do we actually protect the people who create that content? How do we build a system that protects not just their bank account, but their dignity? It's a huge question, and it's one this case forces every single one of us to think about.